Hello! In this episode of Kube-Tuesday, I'd like to talk with you about namespaces. There's something in the metadata of that deployment up there that is kind of missing, and I don't usually put it in the Kubernetes manifest or in the Helm chart explicitly, but with Helm upgrade or Helm install or kubectl apply, there I will specify on the command, so in your pipeline, however you're instrumenting and orchestrating the Helm upgrade or the kubectl apply in your CI/CD DevOps pipelines, you would there give the namespace specification. So namespaces are like folders are in file systems, but in Kubernetes clusters, we subdivide it into namespaces. So we can go say kubectl get namespaces like that, or of course you can just say kubectl get ns, same thing, and we have a list of namespaces. There's a default namespace, but we shouldn't really put anything there. You should create a namespace for each project, each developer potentially, each stage of dev, test, and prod kind of architecture at least, and whatever, even if you don't have them all running in the same cluster, you have production and testing, staging, QA running in different clusters, that's fine. I would still recommend just maybe Brad best practice. I'm curious what you do as far as namespaces, how you divide things. So those of you who know about namespaces already, then you can give me an opinion on that. Those of you who don't know about namespaces, well, here's a few basics. Okay, so first of all, we can go say create namespace and then some name. And we've created a namespace in our cluster, and we can say get namespaces, and there are the namespaces. There's that ZZZ namespace right there. So kubectl get pods over in the namespace, double hyphen namespace, or -n is fine. And then I have no pods there. What if I said, can I do get all? There's nothing. There's no kinds of resources, no kinds of resources in that particular namespace of the cluster. So it's like looking in a folder of the file system. So if I say make dir mu and then ls mu, there's nothing in it. It's empty. So I have an empty namespace we just created. But normally I wouldn't actually go and say kubectl create namespace zzz. So actually I'm going to go and I'm going to delete that namespace. And I'm going to do it again. We're going to create it again, but the more normal way you would do in a DevOps sort of environment where declarative configurations are the key, right? So what do? We say, I'm just kidding. I didn't really want to create a namespace right now. I'll want to create one later. And here, declaratively, what I want is this. But I want to output that as YAML here. Whoops, sorry. Oh, sorry. So it helps if I... Oh, that's interesting. Helps if I say create namespace. There we go. That looks a little bit more like some YAML output. And then we come here and we say, cool, we got that. So let's save that to a file. This is I'm going to put -ns just for kicks. And it's a YAML file. Cool. So we got that. So now let's open that up. So we go here and we go say, where is our namespace file? So we got that up here. Now, instead of doing VI at the bottom, I know I'm using an IDE. Imagine that with Vim key bindings. Okay, so we don't need a spec in the namespace, so I'm just going to delete that. We don't have a status until it's created, so I'm going to delete that. And I don't have a creation timestamp until it exists, so there's that. So API version v1, kind, namespace, metadata, name, the name of it. This is it, really 4 lines. I guess I could have typed that from scratch, but running this command here just felt like a little bit more fun, right? But you could do this certainly with cdk8s plus, just say I want a namespace, cool, boom, we have the namespace. But you could create the namespaces using kubectl. We can just do a kubectl apply now of this namespace. So just as a reminder, if I come down to the bottom right here, kubectl get namespaces, and specifically, If I want to get the namespace called XYZZY, or it's a ZZY, then it doesn't exist, right? Because all I did is I created a manifest for it, editing at the top. Oh, I gotta save that. Let's save that so we have a smaller version of that. Just being paranoid, I'm gonna double check it, right? Make sure I know what we have there. And it's not called that. I put the -ns there. So I got that. So these 4 lines, API version, kind, metadata with the name in it. That's going to be the namespace. Going to be. How do we apply it? Well, I guess I just used the word, didn't I? So apply from the file ns.yaml. Boom. Now we have an empty namespace, and we can do stuff with that, right? We can go in and create pods into that namespace. But that is a topic for another episode of Kube-Tuesday. Using Helm, kubectl, or other techniques. Calling the Kubernetes API directly. Do you do that? So, until next time.